Here we are with Peter. I'm just getting all of our live buttons live. If you are tuning in, get ready to take some notes. Okay. So I guess about 30 years ago now, I met this fantastic couple at New Beginnings, Peter and Patty, and I thought to myself, I'm good. I'm going to be okay. There are mentors who love each other and are healthy and happy and successful who I can sit on their wing and fly a bit. And Peter, you've certainly been that for me over the past few decades. Please introduce yourself to the staffless practice community. Who are you? Where are you? What do you do?
So I'm Dr. Peter Kevorkian, chiropractor. Practiced for 42 years in Westwood, Massachusetts with my lovely bride, Dr. Patty Giuliano. We had a very, very thriving family practice. And in January 2024, I took a position as vice president of Life Chiropractic College West. And then July 1st, 2025, I'm sorry, I got appointed as the president of Life Chiropractic College West. So I've been around the profession in many ways. I've taught for the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association. I was in the board, chairman of the board of a chiropractic college. I've been involved with organizations in the profession nationally, internationally, a part of a group in Massachusetts, a professional support group for God forever, so over 40 years. So I've done a few things and love the chiropractic profession, love service to humanity and making a change in the world.
There's so much I want to ask you about everything that you just said. I do want to talk for a minute about the alliance in Massachusetts that you guys were involved with. Mm-hmm. I hear so many stories about how powerful that group is. And I know that having that community like New Beginnings really allows a lot of chiropractors specifically, but really this is for any profession, to know that there are other people in it with you. Can you speak to that for a minute when it comes to joy in practice and not feeling alone?
That's huge, Dr. Jody. So very early on in practice, when we were starting our practice, there were other chiropractors who were just starting out in practice. And, we were friends, we graduated together and said, let's all get together. And so we would get together once a month in somebody's house. We would do a potluck, and it was a social gathering. We were all younger, newer in practice. But before we broke apart, before we left for the day, we would all sit in a circle and we would share stuff. Seminars we're going to, who services your x-ray, phone systems. And then it extended to what can we do as a group to enhance our practices. So we started doing health fairs together and supporting each other's practices. That morphed over time and became the Mass Alliance for Chiropractic Philosophy, which started then meeting in our home office in Massachusetts. And it was designed to be a total support group. So we would have a guest speaker come and speak. Sometimes it would be a person taught a seminar, authored a book, taught a technique, president of a college, sometimes a local chiropractor who's doing something. And once a month, we would be a support group, a professional support group that everybody would come together, and we would have a guest speaker, and an extension to that, we would begin to share ideas of success and practice, support for one another. The social part was just as valuable as the professional part. And the biggest thing is that it was stability. It was like once a month, second Saturday of the month, everybody knew this was a place that we could come and get re-dipped into what our passion is, support one another. And we would have, some months would be like 20 people. Other times we would have 100 people. I mean, it was quite a spectrum of things. We do things sometimes to support our profession outside of that group, in terms of health fairs and public awareness and some things.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you'd show up as a group on behalf of chiropractic?
Yeah, sometimes we do that. That was not a big part of it. It was mostly professional support. The state society, the official state society, when we first started coming together, was like, oh my God, there's another state society forming. And our job, our role was not to try to compete with the state society whatsoever. We were going to be a support group for chiropractors and very often did things with the state society. So it was not a tension, adversarial relationship, but more synergistic.
Why do you, I'm going to interrupt. Why do you say chiropractor? What is that?
What do you mean?
Is that just the way that you enunciate the word? Most people, is that a thing? I've heard people say tor and tick. Can you speak to that?
Sure. Yeah. Well, the chiropractor is the person. Chiropractic is a profession. And what is, the phrase, I think BJ coined it. It's about the tick, not the tor. It's about the chiropractic. It's the profession. It's a service to the world. It's changing, improving lives for humanity. And it's not about serving yourself. That if you lose yourself in service to the profession, that you will get back as the chiropractor all the abundance and success within your life.
I'm so grateful that you are sitting in the seat that you're sitting in, knowing what you just said. It makes me feel like I can breathe for our profession. I want to go back to your office in Massachusetts. I have a really clear memory of being there and watching you and Patty adjust together and feeling like, whoa, there's a lot happening. And it's like, it's busy, it's going, it's flowing, it's very organized, it's healthy, it's vibrant, it's clear. Tell me about your practice. I just want to hear you riff about it.
Well, my practice was I'm a huge fan of Walt Disney, and it was my Disney World. I feel as though we were able to create an expression of who we were as my Magic Kingdom. Everybody who has ever gone there, both from a chiropractic side as well as a patient, says, "Oh, this place is different," and you feel that difference from the moment that you walk in. And a lot of that was done with intention. I wanted people to feel as though they were coming into my home, not my office. And so that was done with very, very clear intention, and that I was going to care for them like family. I believe that the secrets of success in practice and in life, but particularly practice, is actually rather simple. And that is to take care of everybody like family, tell people the whole truth. Don't ever deceive, lie anybody, make your care be affordable and available, be good at what you do, educate people about what you do, and work your ass off. That's really the secrets to success.
So where are you seeing that? Like, especially sitting in your seat, you're watching new grads go out and try to open up their practice, and some succeed, some have a really challenging time. What are some of the commonalities of practices that thrive? What do you see what patterns do you see?
Oh God, Jody, that's an intense question.
Yeah.
So let's step back. I'm going to give you a higher view perspective.
Okay.
When I sit in reflection of my practice and my life, I feel as though our philosophy group was a time that people could come and be reminded of what's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it was a social group, but yet we all stayed grounded in the fact of we're really here to serve people. We're here to improve the world. We're here to elevate well-being, vitality of all people. And secondary to that becomes the success in business, the success in practice. And yes, procedures and forms and communication are all a part of that, but it all starts from the inside. That you need to look at your insides and then express who you be with congruency and authenticity in who you are. And I felt as though we were a reminder of that to our community in Massachusetts where we're in practice. In education, sometimes we get lost. Well, chiropractors very often get lost with compliance and legalities and insurance companies and state boards and money and all that other stuff. And we were like a reminder. There's a way to articulate into that world and be true to who you be. And I feel as though my role here on an institutional level is very similar, that we're here to graduate competent, compassionate chiropractors, capable chiropractors. And that's the drive. But you can get lost in the things for accreditation and compliance from an institution and legalities and laws and HR and all that other stuff. But to stay grounded in the fact of we're here to graduate amazing people who are going to be the leaders in healthcare.
Mhm.
And so I feel that has been my role, even as vice president, to stay, get into the meetings and into the conversation and the discussions and all the stuff that we have to do as a cabinet, but to stay grounded. We're here for the students. That it's all about our students and students being prepared to go out into the world. So I feel as though that is my role, is to be a reminder of what the priority is. And the priority obviously is my profession. I care deeply about my chiropractic profession, but it's about my students being prepared to carry that torch into the world. I view that we have to graduate a person who is competent, being able to analyze and adjust the spine, competent, being able to communicate to people, but even more so be able to connect with people.
Mhm.
And I feel as though that is the biggest thing in all of healthcare, but also generationally, the people have a challenge with that that we connect person to person. That it's not a hierarchical relationship with the doctor to a patient, but it's two people that come together for a very intimate moment of this thing that we call chiropractic, to be in service to them. So for me to create an environment that students feel prepared for that level of intimate connection with another person, to be in service to them. So when you ask the question, what's the key to success? The key to success is really the same as being a good human being. Be honest, tell people the truth, be competent at what you do. I think very often everybody gets worried about, what I'm supposed to do. Though this is how you market, or what are the right forms. Not that those things aren't important, they are. But first you got to look at yourself. Who am I?
Mhm.
How do I authentically express this through this world of chiropractic? I think the challenges in practice, in starting a practice, is somebody making a decision. There's back when I was in practice, when I got into practice, there weren't a whole bunch of choices. You either associated, and usually those are temporary. More often than not, the model was you graduate and you start your own practice. Now there are dozens of ways that you can show up in chiropractic. You can
Right.
own practice, you can have a partnership, you can be part of a franchise, you can be associated with somebody. There are loads and loads and loads of combinations and permutations of all of those. So what do I do? One of the things that I think hits students today a little different than it was when we were in school is the amount of debt.
Yeah.
Although I think we're going to see that change over the next 5-6 years as the economic structure of our country and healthcare changes a bit. So I think that will actually get under control. But I mean, I got students graduating who are $300,000-$400,000 in debt. You
Yeah.
got a couple. I mean, that's a lot of debt be hanging over your head and say, oh my goodness, how do I make enough money to pay that off?
And then that sets this whole desperate,
100%.
it may even navigate the choices that they make to go do this thing because money's going to instantly flow in. When
Right.
it really, so then you have this portion of chiropractors graduating, and I'm sure this is true for all professions, who aren't really doing what they want to be doing. They're doing it because they have this looming debt. How prevalent is that, Peter? Is that
tremendous? You have the people who graduate and who are success machines, and they go out and boom, you could give them a rotten apple and they're going to find a way. Some people, that's a small percentage, and then you have some people who are the other extreme who you could give them a bed of roses and millions of dollars and they'll trash it. But let's take the extremes off. The bulk of people who are willing to work are going out there, and there are just so many things to get distracted about. Everybody says, "Oh, you got to do this in school. You got to do this in school." Number one thing you got to do in school is make people confident being able to analyze and adjust the spine. That's our core value of what we do. Be good at that. Be good with your hands. Feel confident that you can tell, is a person subluxated? Are they not subluxated? Do I know how to deliver an adjustment? That competencies and confidence needs to be paramount. And then how do you take this perspective of the world and effectively communicate it, and be able to communicate this perspective of self-awareness, self-care, the importance of the nervous system, this vitalistic ideology that we have, to have the skills of being able to effectively communicate to people. People very often sense you need to teach business in school, and I actually take a different perspective on that. I had, during my time in practice, I had 42 student preceptors come into my practice.
Hmm.
I would sit down with every one of them and show them A to Z, all the things in terms of how we ran our business. And you could just see after about 20 minutes of it, their eyes get glossed over. Like, it's overload. And their focus is so much on boards. Where am I going to go? How am I going to move? The teaching the nuances of all the details of running a business. Our students don't have the bandwidth. They're already so inundated with so much data that they got to process. So rather than giving more data about how to run a business, it's how to develop a business mindset. And that needs to be existing literally from day one. That the day that a student signs a piece of paper to say, I'm willing to have you give me all this money from the government that I can pay for my student loan, that they understand what does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to become financially responsible and how to do things? I mean, I don't consider myself a shrewd businessman at all, yet some of the decisions people make relative to economics is like, okay, you definitely don't want to learn that from our government. I mean, look how much debt they are.
Mm-hmm.
So the mindset of our world, debt. I'm not saying debt is a bad thing, but the debt can be the devil. If you allow it to overwhelm you. So I think students need to get a perspective of economic responsibility in practice, in school, and that mindset needs to be there. How do you make sound business decisions? The business skills will come. There's so many ways to run a chiropractic business. Cash, insurance, accept assignment, don't accept assignment, membership practices, fee provision. I mean, there's so many combinations of that, and I'm not. The person has to do what is right for them, my fee structure when I was in practice was designed on the mindset of I want people to be able to come, bring their family, stay for a lifetime, and be under care on a regular basis. I knew that if you charge per visit cash for that would be unsustainable for most families. If you're charging $50, $60, $70 a visit, you got a family of 4, and you want that family to come in once a week to get their spine checked.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to cost you 15, 20 grand for a family to be able to come in and afford that, very few families can find that kind of cash available to them in most communities. So either you create an elitist practice just for those that can afford that, or you have to create a fee structure that makes it possible for people to do that. And I'm not making one right or wrong. I mean, it was my vibe. I wanted families to be able to come in and stay under care for a lifetime. And then when the kids grow up, that they come in and bring their kids. I mean, to me, the absolute best part of practice is when somebody hands you a newborn baby. I mean, literally days old or hours old.
It's such an honor.
Look in the mama's eyes and you say, this is how big you were when you got your first adjustment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the best.
Nothing that comes close.
Yeah.
You've taken care of an entire generation of a person, and that's being carried on. It's that. So that doesn't happen unless you create a fee structure that makes
right.
people to do that.
So you set it up for success, and
success within my belief system. Okay, it wasn't. I knew my objective was I wanted people to come in as a family, stay for a lifetime, and be able to come in every week and get their spine checked. Okay. The next step is how do I create affordability for that? And then how do I create a success business system that allows me to maintain that objective? Because if my vibe in practice, all I did was adjust. I was not doing therapies or treatments. Number one, aligned to my objective. My objective was to free up the nervous system, to allow the nervous system to become better adaptive. Giving it a spinal adjustment only takes a couple minutes. It doesn't take that long, right? So I saw people on a very regular basis, but my table time with the person could be 2-3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. Initially, maybe as I'm getting to know their spine, 5 minutes. So I could see, it'd be typical for me to see 25, 30 people in an hour. If somebody has table time of 15, 20 minutes per person,
right,
that they're giving, my model financially would not be one of success.
Right.
But my model wasn't created for my financial success. My model was created about what's my objective. The objective is families lifetime, once a week, getting a spine check. How do I make that affordable? How do I make it profitable? Okay, so the decisions need to come in that direction. If you're making it, well, how do I make the most money? You with me? You make very different choices and decisions. The first decision is what's the objective? what's the outcome we want, right?
I also feel like it's important for when you own a practice. Like here I am, I just spent 10 years in school. My brain is completely toast. I'm $400,000 in debt. I don't know where I want to live. I have to go learn a new community. These are my tools, and I think that if we can identify what we need to grow with, like some people leave school really with a lot of certainty around their adjusting skills, but they don't know the first thing about, let's say, the profit first system where you pay yourself first and then you allocate to different accounts. Other people, they don't trust their hands yet because they haven't had that experience, and maybe they need to go to an MLS seminar, or maybe they take a mentor under and shadow them for a couple of years and become I don't know, whatever it is. So identifying the subluxation when we get into practice, can you speak to that and how important that is?
100%. But before I do, I just noticed the banner that's running underneath us. It says lifewestedu.com. That's not correct. It's lifewest.edu.
Oh, Jody.
That's okay. I just happened to notice it.
It's lifewest.edu, correct?
So I remember when I graduated chiropractic school, I did not have the degree of clarity in terms of, is this person subluxated? Are they not subluxated? And I did off-campus seminars, and I went to all the clubs. And thank you for fixing that.
Would it bother you if I kept it there?
I don't think that it is. Our schools do a great job sometimes at creating confusion, not with intention, but in efforts to juggle all the things that an institution has to do. That sometimes confusion can be met. Most schools teach a package. Palmer has a Palmer package. Sherman has a Sherman package. Life has a Life package. One of the things that I am working to do, actually, this has been a high value of mine since being in this seat. I believe that we don't help our students by creating a package. What I believe we need to do is allow our students to learn various technical protocols and systems as those protocols and systems have been developed. Clarence Gonstead had a particular window to the spine and had a very clear system of analysis. Clay Thompson had his. Arlen Furr has his. Donnie Epstein has his. Major DeJarnett had his. And what we've tried to do in colleges is to homogenize them. And in that process, we've really lost the brilliance and the genius of the technical masters. So what we're doing, and we've lost, if you ask most people what technique they do, they say diversified. Diversified is not a technique. Diversified is a force application. Chiropractic technique is an analysis and a force application. The adjustment is really figuring out where you're going to put a force in and determining what type of force you're going to put in. Okay, that really is both of them. And what's happened within our professions, we've lost that reverence of the analysis and force application, and we're focusing on the force application. We're focusing on diversified, cervical chair, side posture, spring-loaded instrument, drop table, all of that. That's what becomes the protocol, sustained contact. There's a brilliance and a genius that existed in every technical model. So what we're doing is ensuring that as our students learn chiropractic technique, they learn it as its system. So Life West is not creating its own system, the Life West system. What we're doing is we're teaching Gonstead the way that Clarence would have wanted taught to honor that system. We're teaching CBP the way that Harrison would have developed and wants his students to learn that protocol. Okay, we're teaching SOT from the mechanism that DeJarnett would have taught the categories and the indicators to determine when a person to be adjusted, how they're supposed to be adjusted. We're teaching Activator the way that Activator teaches its protocol, so students can choose which techniques they want to utilize. Mm-hmm. So we're shifting our curriculum to allow that to occur, because we've lost that. Life West began as an upper cervical school. It was years and years and years ago. It was started by a group of NUCA practitioners.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They wanted to ensure that. So I want to make sure that NUCA is taught the way that NUCA should be taught, with the x-ray, the analysis, the triceps pull, that protocol is there. When we teach toggle, we're teaching the way that BJ Palmer would have wanted toggle to be taught, in terms of pattern, leg check, that system is taught as its system. And
authenticity. You're talking about authenticity.
But that way the student can become clear, right. And they say, oh, I'm going to practice this. Ultimately, Jody, you know as well as I do, that most practitioners, very few practitioners just do a technique. They synthesize it together to allow it to become a technical expression of who they are. But if what we want to do is give the students the opportunity to learn and uncover the healer inside of them, the chiropractor inside of them, that the expression of that art form, we need to teach them the journeys that the forefathers took. This is the journey that Clarence took. This is the journey that the Major took. This is the journey that Clay took. Okay, so these protocols each make sense. But ultimately, a person is going to take that and refine it in turn to themselves. So they create the Jody Ditterman technique, the Peter Kevorkian technique, which is a synthesis together of many techniques. You can't do that in school.
You need experience with that. It takes time.
That takes a period of time to get that. So I want what's in our curriculum to be grounded in the technical competence and historical majesty that exists relative to all the techniques. Okay?
Beautiful.
So you don't lose that. And then give students the ability to rationalize, to think, and to have conversation and debate. And that's something that we have lost in education, is the ability to question, be curious. Everybody just wants, what boxes do I check off? What do I need to do to pass my tests? What do I need to graduate? So I really want to foster and nurture a place of creativity and ingenuity and questioning and conversations. That's almost been lost in trying to pass all the tests.
Well, a big part of that goes back to the beginning of our conversation, and we're just about out of time, but find a community of chiropractors who have what you want. And I was blessed to know you and Patty for so long here in New Jersey, coming to New Beginnings all these years and going to Drew Rubin's backyard with Ernie Landy and studying the green books when I was in my teens. Like, that is
magic.
The biggest blessing of one of the biggest blessings of my lifetime. So I do want to ask the question I ask all of our podcast guests. If a new doc or a doc who is looking to make a pivot in practice came to you and said, Peter, I keep hearing about Jody and what staffless practice is doing for practices. What's your opinion? Should I check it out? What would you say to them?
100%. I am a huge fan of coaches and services to help chiropractors. Chiropractors think they know everything. We don't. Okay, you need to be around people who can give you information that you can then take, make yours, and develop the best systems. A good coach, I'll pay for themselves. I have no idea, pardon my ignorance, but I don't know what you charge. But let's say you charge $1,000 a month for your service, okay, to be able to do it. If working with you doesn't allow one more person to receive chiropractic care in a month that otherwise wouldn't have, then throw your service away. Okay, I guarantee you, if you do 10% of what your coach tells you to do, your practice, it should be more than pay for itself. Okay, a good coach unsubluxates your practice. Takes the life of your practice, takes away the interference, so it's the best expression of you. So I love what you're doing. And find the right people. There are so many coaches out there. This is going to be, you're a coach. You want to be able to make sure you connect with them, that your values are aligned, your goals, your intentions are aligned, and this person is supporting you. And there are a lot of services out there that are, somebody has to go into become part of that service, right? Mm-hmm. It's ideal to find a service that, yes, you might need to do that, but can be molded to your unique needs.
Yes, that's key. And I don't even coach these days. I don't wear a coach's hat. I more create these marketing systems and excellence programs for practices. And I agree with you 100%. If you don't have somebody shining a light on the path that you went, who's walked that path before you, it gets really dark, especially if you're a solo practitioner. One of the things that I'm most grateful for is my mentors in chiropractic, you being at the top of the list, Peter. So
you're very sweet, Jody. Thank you.
I love you, and I tell Patty I love her. She knows how much I love her. Do you want to do a shameless drop for her book real quick?
Sure. Dr. Patty, my wife, wrote a book. Her intention of the book was to create a book that that aligned philosophically in terms of the vitalistic ideals of chiropractic in the world of parenting. How do you make parenting decisions from a vitalistic model? The title of the book is great. Oh shit, I'm gonna be a mom. What was I thinking? And it was about her journey of finding her authenticity as a parent, being grounded in our philosophy, and how do you extend that not just in terms of adjusting, but in terms of being the best mom. And
awesome. And she's just as beautiful as she is brilliant, and you are too. So thank you for being on my podcast.
My pleasure, Dr. Jody.
Any last minute thought that you want to share with the Staffless Practice community?
No, just
okay.
Stay true to your heart. And be you. Be real.
Okay, hang out, Peter. And as always, guys, go make the world better with great care, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for being here.